As Mr. Prasad said, I'm Erica Wolf, and I'm the Director of Graduate Law Programs at Seattle University School of Law. And I want to talk to you today about the LLM programs we have at Seattle University School of Law, and share first a little bit about Seattle and why you should come study here, live here, work here, and then talk a little bit about the bar exam requirements, and then some details about our program. So Seattle is a great place to study and work. We're located here on the Pacific Rim in the northwest part of the United States. We're home to several very popular companies, Fortune 500 companies such as Microsoft, Boeing, Starbucks, Amazon.com, and several other large companies. Our biggest industry is technology, biotechnology, and of course airplanes. Boeing has other headquarters, but they're still located here in Seattle as well. So Seattle is a beautiful place with lots of trees and mountains and water. It's very nice, and it's a great place for you to study if you ever choose to do so. Seattle is really a growing city. It's got the #1 housing market in the country right now. It's very popular. We have a large international population, and we're a very welcoming city to international students, international visitors, and folks from all over the world come to Seattle. So I'll talk a little bit about the bar admissions. So the bar admissions in Washington State, if you want to take the bar in Washington State, first I'll show you, it's called Rule 3, APR 3, and that means Admission to Practice Rule 3. And so what that requires is that you graduate from a university or law school outside of the United States with a degree in law, such as an LLB, together with the completion of an LLM degree for the practice of law as defined by these rules. So that means that for an LLM for Washington State requires you to take a certain amount of minutes of instruction in constitutional law, civil procedure, professional responsibility, the legal profession, and legal analysis, reading, reasoning, legal research, problem solving, and written communication. So legal writing, in other words. So we have all of these classes to offer as part of our LLM program. And once the student takes all of these classes and the courses that are in our LLM program requirements, then he can apply to sit for the bar exam in Washington State. It's a lot easier to sit for the bar exam in Washington State than it is in a place like New York. Although, if the student wishes to take the bar exam in New York, we can structure the curriculum so that you take the exact courses that you need in the LLM program. And New York requires a certain amount of courses from the first year course offerings. So they require you to take certain courses that are included in our first year curriculum. We have a day and a night program. So if you want to come to school full-time, you can come during the day and attend full-time. If you want to come to school and maybe work part of the time you're here, you can also attend part-time in the evening. Our evening part-time program is very popular with students because it allows them to work or pursue other interests. So if you're interested in taking a bar exam not in Washington or New York or in another state, go to this website. It's ncbex.org, and they have what's called a bar admission guide. And in this guide, they'll list the exact requirements for each state. Now, when I meet with students, applicants, and we talk about what bar exam they wish to take, what we do is I draft a curriculum plan for the student so that they can take the exact courses that they need for the bar in the state in which they wish to become eligible. Every state in America is different. So our requirements are different from New York, which may be different from California or Washington, D.C., or so forth. So every state has its own bar association, and what that means is the state bar association governs lawyers practicing. So if you want to practice in, you know, 2 different states, you either have to waive in or have take the test in each of those. So each state has a bar examination, and what we have at Seattle University School of Law that we include in our LLM curriculum is a bar skills course. It's a course on how to study for the bar, the subjects that will be tested on the bar, and what the best test-taking strategies are for taking the bar exam. The bar exam in Washington State is 3 days. It's 2 days of written examination and 1 day of multiple choice, or MBE, multi-state. So it's a very intense examination, but we prepare you for it by providing you with the coursework that you need to become successful. So let me talk about a little bit about our graduate law programs. If you go to this website, you can see it's law.seattleu.edu/gradlaw. You can see our different LLM degree programs. The most important LLM that I want to talk with you about today is the LLM in Innovation and Technology Law. Because Seattle is such a hub for technology, there's a need for lawyers who understand things like data privacy, cybersecurity, digital commerce, financial technology. And so we have designed a program specifically to address the need for lawyers in this area who need these skills and to understand law. Technology moves so much faster than the law, and the law can barely keep up with it. But what we've done is, to design our program, we've consulted with a group of lawyers that work for corporations and law firms in Seattle who practice in these areas of innovation and technology law. And they have helped us design the program so that we're giving students exactly what they need to be competitive in the workplace. So if you go to our Innovation and Technology Law page, there's some information about the Innovation and Technology Law LLM. So as I said before, we're a global hub for the technology industry. And we have lots of knowledge, talent, opportunity that inspires the program. And so as a student, you'll receive academic and practical training in the various legal issues and doctrines affecting technological innovation in business. There's a very small group of lawyers who have this specialized area of knowledge, and so it's a really exciting time for us to be offering it, and we're really excited to, we have our first class, we have 2 students graduating from the program this spring, and they both have, one has secured a job with the government investigating cyber crimes, and the other student who's graduating is working for a larger company called F5, doing technology law, providing in-house counsel for technology law. So the curriculum is concerned with privacy law, cybersecurity, digital commerce, and financial technology. So we're looking at business, the interplay between business, technology, and law, and how all of those play out. And so we have several business people who also teach in the program. All of our professors have worked for various companies like Microsoft and Amazon and Google and MSN and some other technology companies, so that they can teach the students exactly what the current law is and what's important to know when they're going out into the workforce. This is probably our most popular LLM program. Requirements are 24 credit hours. So all students will complete a number of core courses, and in addition to that, there are 2 tracks that you could complete. You could either choose between information privacy and cybersecurity or digital commerce and financial technology. Now, you don't have to choose a track if you don't want to. Some students choose to study all of those, but if you're interested in narrowing it down, we offer specialized training in those tracks. You'll also work with a faculty member and professional mentor to complete a 2-credit writing thesis or independent study paper. And our goal for you is so that you can draft a paper that can be published in an innovation and technology law journal. That way you can put that on your resume and to help you find a job. As I said, you could pursue your studies full-time over the single year or part-time over 2 years. And you'll work closely with me, the program director, faculty, and other professionals to make sure that we've designed a program that's going to, 1, help you pass the bar, and 2, or become eligible to take the bar in your state, or 2, to make sure that you can get a job in the field that you're interested in. So let's take a look at our curriculum. If you are on the website, you can actually download the course descriptions in Innovation and Technology Law curriculum here. And that's a list of these courses with descriptions of each course and what you study in those courses. So we have several core courses. Legal and Technological Foundations of Privacy, Cybersecurity, and Commerce. Law, Technology, and Ethics in the Age of Business Innovation. Cyberspace Law in the Modern Era and Beyond. This course is extremely popular, cyberspace law, because the professor goes into essentially some technology information at the beginning of the course before going into the law. And so it helps you understand the technology behind what you're talking about in class. There's also Foundations of Privacy Law and Digital Commerce and Consumer Data. So I have separated here the 2 separate tracks, although as I said before, you may take classes from each track depending on your interest and how many credits you have available. Because you will be taking credits, to take the bar exam, you probably won't have as many credits available to specialize in a certain track. Because there's so many of your credits will be taken up by courses that are bar required courses, depending on which bar exam you wish to take. But we do have courses in cyber warfare and cybercrime. We're actually have that course offered this summer. Privacy law in the healthcare industry is also very important. Seattle is home to several major hospitals and trauma centers in the Northwest, cancer research, biotechnology centers. So the healthcare industry is a really big industry in Seattle, and so that information and what to do with that information, understanding the regulations and compliance is very important. We also have courses on government law and surveillance. One of the courses, Law and Ethics in the Age of Technology, we had someone from the NSA, National Security come to our class and talk about what it was like to work for the government and, surveillance and the law surrounding that. It's a really hot topic in the United States, so it's important to have an understanding of that. And with our digital commerce and financial technology courses, we offer barter to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a new currency, and it's a very popular course. Financial institutions, financial institutions and financial services law and policy, and digital commerce, and cyber and white-collar crimes. We also have a course that we're offering this fall on data breach and response. So what happens when an organization has been breached, when data has been stolen due to a cyber attack, and what kind of response does the law require? And the lawyer teaching this course is probably one of the top lawyers in Seattle who works with corporations to help with their data breach and response. So this is the Innovation and Technology Law curriculum. Now, I should tell you that we are looking at also offering an LLM in American Legal Studies, but that hasn't been approved yet, and we're not expecting approval until the end of this month, until the end of April. So the LLM in American Legal Studies will allow students to just focus on American Legal Studies and these the course offerings from other topics. Since we don't have it approved until the end of the month, I can't market it or give you a curriculum on that because we're still working through that. We have one more vote with our faculty, and assuming they approve it on Friday, we'll be able to offer our LLM in American Legal Studies this fall. And so we'll be advertising that probably in early May, and we're hoping to be able to offer that. So the students who are not interested in either the LLM in Innovation and Technology Law, LLM in Tribal Law, or LLM in Elder Law can choose to specialize in an area of law that interests them, such as international law or immigration law or some other specialty area. We have many different focus areas for students to focus on, and if you go to focus and practice areas, we have focus areas in business law, civil advocacy, commercial law, and so on. So that once we start to offer the LLM in American Legal Studies, if a student is interested in taking that program, he or she can focus in another area of law besides just the current offerings that we have for our LLM programs. So I will be sure to send you all the information on that as soon as we have that approved, which would hopefully be this Friday. So the Innovation and Technology Law LLM has certain application requirements, and if you're interested in applying, the application requirements are here. You can either apply through LSAC, the Law School Admission Council, or you can click Apply Now and download a paper application to your desktop. You can complete the application and email it to this email address here, gradlaw@seattleu.edu. We don't have a $60 application fee currently. We're waiving that through the end of the month and for Seattle U alumni. So we're waiving that application fee. So if you're interested in applying, if you could get your application in by the end of the month, that would be the best time because you don't have to pay the $60 application fee. So you fill out the application form. We also require a personal statement of 1 to 2 pages. And really what we want to know is, what is it that you would like to do with the LLM degree? What are your goals? How do you plan to use the degree? What is it you would like to do with that degree? And we also require a resume or CV and a list of 3 references. Academic or professional references are preferred, but if you have a good friend if you don't have enough references and you have a good friend that you would like to put down as a reference, we will accept that. And if you're already admitted to practice somewhere, we would like a certificate of good standing with your application. So a certificate from where you're admitted to practice says exactly what kind of that you have been admitted to practice in the jurisdiction and that you have a certificate of good standing. And this is required because we or you could have a letter from your jurisdiction. It doesn't have to be the exact certificate, but this is required if you've been practicing in another place, because we want to make sure that there aren't any bar complaints or anything like that that would prohibit you from becoming a member of the Washington State Bar or any bar association in the United States. The other things we require are official transcripts from where you have studied law. And so if you have a first degree in law, we would like a transcript sent to us. Certified translation in English would be ideal. And if English is not your first language, then a TOEFL score report may be sent directly from ETC. I'll talk a little bit about TOEFL. We expect the students to have, very high analytic reading communication skills, and that includes being able to write and speak English and contribute to classroom discussions. So we require a minimum of 100 on the TOEFL, internet-based, 600 paper-based, and 250 computer-based. We also will accept IELTS, and for that score require a minimum of 7. Now, we can provide a TOEFL waiver or a waiver of these requirements if you have studied at an institution that is teaching primarily in English. So if you've studied English, then we can waive. If you've studied at a college that is teaching in English, then we can waive it. Also, if you lived or worked in the United States or another English-speaking jurisdiction for at least 1 year, then we can waive it. And what I usually like to do before deciding on a waiver is have like a web conference with the student, read their personal statement so that I can assess the English skills, which are very important. And I will open it up for questions.
Thank you very much, Professor Wolf. There has been, there were some questions. So there is a question from Twinkle. Now Twinkle has asked, what entrance exams do we have to give other than TOEFL, as we have already graduated? I think you just answered that that it is IELTS, and if it is if a person has studied in an English language undergraduate program, then the TOEFL and IELTS can be waived. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. We can waive the exam requirements if someone has studied at a university where English was taught, or where it was taught in English, or if someone has lived or worked in an English-speaking jurisdiction for at least 1 year. The only other exam we have is TOEFL or IELTS. That's it. We don't require any other entrance exam. We look at the rest of the application and look at the whole person, and not just an exam.
Thank you, Professor Wolf. And there is another question again from Twinkle, but I think this perhaps resonates with so many other doubts that people might have. The question is, what are the grades or percentage required in the LLB or the undergraduate program to be admitted to the LLM, to be admitted to the LLM program, which I think is a question that many people would be having, because again, each university will be very strict with their markings. They have different criteria. So there could be some university which has a CGPA, some of them which could have a percentage basis. So is there like a minimum cutoff or something like that you look into?
I mean, the minimum is definitely passing. Students must have a passing grade, but sometimes you have something happen where you have a C average instead of an A or B average because something happened in your life, or you're working, or there's some other issue that happens where your grades aren't as high as you would like them to be. And we don't hold that against you if you have other strengths in your application, such as, certain work experience, or a very compelling personal statement, or, very good writing skills. So the grades, the minimum is passing, which in here is 2.0. We like to see students with higher GPAs, grade point averages, of course, but we don't hold it against the student if their grades are not, because we look at so many other parts of the application, and really what the whole person has to offer, and whether they're going to be a good ambassador for our program. We want to graduate people who can, can help further our social justice mission here at the law school, and so we look at everything and not just grades.
Another question is from Parveen. Now, Parveen Sheikh has asked, is there any eligibility in terms of age? So is there like a maximum age or a minimum age for the applicant?
No, we don't have any maximum or minimum age, because age discrimination in here is illegal, and some people don't find their calling until later in life. For me personally, I worked in finance before I went to law school and became a lawyer, so law school was my second career. So I was older than the students that I was sitting next to in class, and we've had students who are much older who are studying and doing a great job because they're serious about their studies. So we don't consider age. For me, personally, age is just a number, and so the older and wiser or young is good too. So
there is another question which I think perhaps it was missed out during the presentation, is with regard to the total fee, that includes the staying and everything that would be including the study material. What is the total fee that comes to, and is there any scholarship that is available at all?
Yes, both good questions. So we charge, currently our tuition is $1,450 per credit, okay? So it's about $36,000 total for tuition and fees to do the program. But we do offer scholarships, and the scholarships are considered at the time of the application. We can only offer partial tuition scholarships. We can't offer a full tuition scholarship, but we consider scholarships, especially from international applicants, very strongly, because we understand that it's a lot of money, and that it's a big investment, and not only do you have to come and pay tuition and buy books and things like that, but also living expenses. There's living expenses depending on where you live, or if you have a roommate or something like that, that can be also high. Fortunately, here in Seattle, we have a very good public transportation system. So we have a light rail that takes you from various neighborhoods to downtown, to Capitol Hill, which is our neighborhood. And so you don't really need a car when you live in Seattle. but there are other costs. You know, it's expensive like any large world-class city in the United States. It can be expensive.
Is there any recommended living costs, like, because some law schools does publish that this is the suggested or an approximate living cost will be between this and this dollars. Is there any such recommendations or anything of that sort?
Living costs are approximately $30,000 to $40,000 per year, and that's changes because the rent here goes up, and so it is expensive.
So Parveen, I hope she has been able to answer this question. And there is another question from Ayushi. Ayushi has asked that she has already done, I mean, she's currently doing an LLM in criminal law, and you know, she probably wants to do a second LLM. So is is it something that you know, what is the how will, her exact question is how this degree will help in my future aspect, which I think what she means to say is that what is her future career prospects after an LLM in innovation and technology laws.
Okay, well, first let me think. Okay, Ayushi, yes, I will address your question. So the LLM in innovation and technology law is useful if you're interested in working in the technology field, because there's few lawyers who actually have an understanding of the law as it relates to data privacy, cybersecurity, digital commerce. We don't have very many lawyers who understand these, because most law schools aren't graduating lawyers with this type of curriculum. So we're addressing a very specific need in innovation and technology law. And the job prospects here in Seattle, I don't have any statistics because our program is so new. I only have anecdotal information. Before we even offered the program, we did lots of market research and formed what we call a board of advisors, who are practitioners in the field in the state who are practicing in this area, to advise us on whether we should offer the program, what courses we should include in the program, what material in those courses should be included, so that we could make sure that we're offering a program that has that is going to be useful in the marketplace. So all of our students that we've had in the program so far have found jobs or internships with various law firms or tech companies in innovation and technology law. I even have a graduate who just changed careers. She's an older person, and for many years she worked in landlord-tenant, and she just changed careers to do the innovation and technology law program. And she's graduating this spring with a job at one of these firms. So we only admit 12 students to the program every year, and we keep it small because we don't want to flood the market with applicants and with students, and we want to make sure that it stays a small quality program. But the job prospects are there in Seattle, in Silicon Valley, and other cities where understanding of technology law is needed, and so it's very specialized in that area. And I think if you're interested in criminal law, there's also the aspect of white-collar crime, you know, folks who've committed cybercrime, investigating that, the possibility of maybe working for the government, investigating those.
There is also another question from Naga. Naga, specific question is, I want to know what kind of recommendation letters are needed, and will internships, writings, and publication add weightage for LLM? So she wants to know more about, I presume it's a she, wants to know more about the kind of recommendation letters that is needed, and whether having internships and any publication will make a difference to the application process.
Okay. Hi, Naga. Of course, all of those will enhance the application. Any type of publication, anything like that. Letters of recommendation, we don't require actual letters. Letters are very helpful, and we do receive some. We do require a list of 3 references. So 3 people who will you know, can talk about your professional skills and what you have to offer. That I personally email or call these three people and ask them about you. And so, but if they want to submit a letter instead, I will accept that. The thing is, it's so difficult sometimes to get letters of recommendation in a short amount of time from people. So that's why we require 3 references. But yeah, of course, letters of recommendation, publication, any type of professional experience will be very helpful in assessing your application.
There is another question from Radhika Sharma. So apart from the LLM and innovation and technology law, what if a person is very keen on corporate law? So is there any credit options where they can specialize purely in corporate law related subjects? This
Sure.
question is from Radhika.
Hi, Radhika. So thank you for your question. So right now, we only have the specific LLM programs that we're offering. But as I stated earlier, what we're trying to do is we are going to offer an LLM in American Legal Studies, which will allow students to specialize in something of another interest, like corporate law or immigration law or some other interest. So we're meeting with our faculty on Friday to discuss this, and hopefully we will be able to have a yes decision on this and be able to offer this. We would like to start offering it in the fall of 2017, which means we would accept, you know, applications for this as soon as we get it approved, but it's just not approved yet. We have to go through a lot of processes to make sure that that we can offer a good program, and it takes time. So as soon as that's approved, which I expect it will be approved by the end of this week, then we can start offering that as an option so that students don't have to just choose between innovation technology law, tribal law, or elder law.
There is, during your presentation, you mentioned that if a person is currently enrolled, then there would be, you know, you would probably need a certificate of good standing. Now, is that certificate a mandatory requirement to the application process? Because sometimes getting that certificate might be difficult because the person who might be enrolled in one state, let's say in India, and he's practicing law in another state. So while filling out the application form to get this letter and then to courier it might be difficult. So is this like a mandatory requirement, or like it is something that they can get it anytime before they join the LLM program?
Yeah, if I get something like this, you know, a letter or certification that you're eligible to practice in the jurisdiction you're practicing in, if I get that anytime before you start, that's fine. The thing that the reason we require that is because our state and all the states do an extensive background check when you apply for the bar exam. And so we want to make sure that you don't have any like complaints against you or anything like that in the jurisdiction you were practicing before. And so it's really, you know, to kind of help you to make sure that you're eligible so that you don't just do this LLM and then find out that you're not eligible.
Excuse me.
Sure. So anytime before you begin, we would like to see this letter or certificate from the jurisdiction in which you're practicing that says, yes, you're a member in good standing, and that is all it has to say.
Again, this is a question from Radhika, an extension of the question she asked before. Does by doing a specialization in innovation and technology, will it be further beneficial for us, or will we be eligible to work in another country? What I think she means to say is that what is the future career prospects,
Yeah.
after the LLM program in
Our career prospects are really good in that, everyone who's in the program now, I mean, we've only had the program for a year because it's so new, and we want to meet this need that's out there. The career prospects are very good in Seattle or Silicon Valley, or places where technology law is, where there are fewer attorneys practicing in technology law, because they don't have these skills, they haven't taken this curriculum, and places where technology is an important part of the economy. And so the career prospects for our graduates are very strong. Now, getting the question of going from having an F1 visa for study to working, that's another issue. I know there's this program called OPT, which allows some people to work for a sponsor, like a firm or corporation that's sponsoring them. But I know that it's temporary while the graduate is working on getting their license. And so I don't know, with immigration law, exactly how, how that works, because it takes a lot longer to do that. But we've had some people who graduate and they end up staying here and working here, and eventually working on getting their citizenship. There are other graduates who are trying to find out, how they're going to stay here. They don't have, not graduates of this program, but just international graduates from law schools who want to stay here and work in the United States, and are having trouble finding someone to sponsor them. So that's the difficulty, is the immigration, unless you have permanent resident status, it can be difficult to know whether you're going to be staying in the country or not.
As for the scope of the LLM in innovation and technology in other countries, what do you think, the application of this LLM program would be in, let's say, a graduate from France or from India or Africa? How beneficial it would be if you were to apply for, let's say, a job in the UK or in Singapore or in the Middle East, for example?
We've had a lot of interest in our curriculum from other countries and universities in other countries who want to set up exchange programs with us, because they don't offer this specific type of law, but they want their students to learn it. And so we're working on those programs right now, but the EU has a lot of regulations, and we're actually going to offer a class in the EU. They have different rules and regulations than the United States, and so we've had a lot of interest from people in Germany, Switzerland, for our innovation and technology law curriculum. And so I think that, and we've had several of our faculty go overseas and speak in Asia and Europe and in the Middle East on issues involving innovation and technology law. I think that it's probably going to be a global, a global phenomenon, because there are just so many companies all over the world where the law is just catching up with technology, and this is going to be continuing to be, as more technology becomes available, this law is going to become even more important, and it's going to continue to an issue with corporations. Every corporation in the world is going to need to know what kind of data breach response they should have. What are the laws require them as far as cybersecurity and privacy? So we expect this to continue to grow and grow.
Thank you, Professor Wolf. And there is also one more question as an extension of what you were speaking about earlier during the presentation, where you said that TOEFL can be waived off. But in case if TOEFL is waived off, does it affect a person's visa application to come to the law school? Would it be like that? Would there be a problem with the during the time of applying for the visa, where they might ask for a document like, where is your English language test results or something of that sort?
Question. I've never had anyone have a problem getting their visa because we waived the application or we waived the TOEFL requirement. I'm just not sure. I have at the International Student Center at Seattle University, I have a person that I could put you in contact with who could help you more with that question, but generally, if we waive the TOEFL, it's because the applicant has very strong English skills, and so I just don't know if that would be a factor in the visa application. I don't believe it is. But.
All right, not a problem, not a problem. So I think that is about it with the questions. If you do have any question, then you can please feel free to type it out over here, or else I think we can conclude the webinar over here. I'd like to thank you so much for taking the time out to give such a very detailed detailed overview of how to apply for the LLM program at the Seattle University School of Law. So thank you so much for joining us, and if people want to reach out to you, or if they want to know further about the LLM program, the best thing to do is to apply, to send an email in the email that is given in the screen right now.
Yes, yes. So contact GradLaw, and this phone number is actually not a direct number. I can give you my direct number. Is if you want to call me, it's 206-398-4277, 4277. And so, or you can send me an email and we can set up a Skype call. That's also a possibility. And I'm happy to answer any questions or talk with you about anything. And I just really appreciate everyone's attention and questions. And Mr. Prasad, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Professor Wolf. There is one more question when somebody just typed it out right now. Would it be okay for you to answer that?
Sure, of course, of course.
Yeah, so there's a person who has done an LLB with specialization in intellectual property laws, and it is like she would be keen to do an LLM in innovation and technology, and what kind of profile would be suitable for me once I complete the LLM in innovation and technology.
Wow.
And she also has a degree, or rather a qualification of a company secretaryship qualification with 7 years of experience, and that's what she would want to know more about.
Wow. Well, she sounds like a very strong applicant to our program. Innovation and technology law strongly coincides with intellectual property law, patent, trademark, all the litigation surrounding those. So, I mean, she sounds like a very strong candidate, and with intellectual property is also a very hot practice area here in Washington State. Amazon is hiring every day. You look and see Amazon hiring people who want or people who have skills in intellectual property. So intellectual property and innovation and technology law would be just a double law degree to have for our industry and for our state in particular, but any state where they have a very strong technology economy. So I think it sounds like she's a great candidate and has a very good applicant profile.
Thank you, Professor Wolf. So I think that's it with the questions. So thank you very much for joining us, and hopefully we will.
Yeah, if you have any other questions, you can just feel free to email me at the address, and I'm happy to talk with you. And Mr. Prasad, thank you again for having me.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.